People tread the glets, slip the dogs of war, an ocean-going juggernaut, hellfire with guns.
Hello, I'm Hadriatus, Armchair General, and today we're going to be taking to the high seas, the sky, and the land in Spartan Games' latest product, Dystopian Wars. Now, as this is a Spartan product, you can expect the rules found here to be similar to many of those found in Firestorm Armada. However, there are some key differences in order to make this game one of combined arms. Are these differences successful? Let's find out. The year is 1870 and the Prussian Empire has allied with the Empire of the Blazing Sun against the Kingdom of Britannia and the Federated States of America. Technology is far more advanced than it was in our timeline due to the discovery of a massive facility buried in the Antarctic.
Not only were there weapons and tools, but a new element, one that has since been named Sturginium after the man who discovered it. Its ability to be combined with various other elements to make them stronger or lighter is what has resulted in the technology so prevalent in the setting. Of course, Sturgeon tried to keep this knowledge secret and gradually reveal it to the world so that everyone could benefit. That, of course, did not happen, and so all the major nations of the world have gone to war over past grievances.
Of course, there's a bit more to the background, but this will suffice for this review. Yes, it's Spartan Games' calling card of a system, the Exploding D6. If you don't know what that is, go watch my Firestorm Armada review. If you're too lazy to do that, then shame on you. But here's an overview anyway. Basically, the point of this game is to get as many successes as possible whenever you roll dice. Whenever you roll a dice, a single D6, then any result 4 or over is a success. However, if you roll a 6, it counts as 2 successes and you get an additional roll. This can continue as long as you keep rolling 6s.
Most often you'll be rolling dice during your shooting phase. Each ship vehicle has a stat card showing you how many dice to roll for each weapon when you are firing, just like Firestorm Armada. The difference is in turrets. Whilst in Firestorm Armada, turrets are treated as a single system, whereas in Dystopian Wars the number applied to each turret on the model. Of course, this isn't quite adequately explained in the rulebook, like many things, but that's another problem. Now, normally each dice needs a 4 to count as a hit, but when capital ships are firing at smaller ships, this is reduced to a 5.
Now, you begin each turn by rolling for initiative. Very original. Whoever wins initiative gets to activate one of their squadrons of planes, ships, tanks, whatever first. Move, shoot. Then their opponent gets to do the same with one of their squadrons, and then it's back to them, then back to their opponent, and so on and so forth until everything in the army has activated.
Now, all ships have a maximum and minimum move distance to represent momentum and inertia, and they also have a minimum distance they must move before each turn. Most often this is an inch or two, and each box set of models comes with some sheets of tokens and templates, like this one, to make it easier to work out the turning circles. Since the large ships have such large turns, this makes movement key in lining up the perfect shots. Some ships specialize in broadsides and so need to be in a very specific position to get the most out of their weaponry. Others use turrets, which are more forgiving in regard to their fire arcs. This is coupled with the effective distance of weaponry.
Again, like in Firestorm Armada, distances are divided into range bands for the purposes of shooting. There are 4 range bands, each one is 8 inches long. Now, depending on which range band your target is in, your vehicle will roll a different number of dice for each attack. So for example, a Prussian cruiser shooting at a Britannian battleship that's 16 inches away? Is it 16? Yes, will roll 8 dice. However, if it's within 8 inches, the Prussian player will get to roll 11 dice. So generally speaking, the closer you are, the more dice you will get to roll.
Boarding is an advanced rule, but I'll quickly cover it here anyway since it winds up being a major focus of the late game once the ships have pounded each other into so much scrap. All ships and craft have AP, assault points. These represent the amount of Marines, soldiers on board. During the movement phase, any time a ship passes within 4 inches of an enemy ship, you can launch your Marines to try to board it.
You choose how many of your assault points you want to send over to try and capture the enemy ship. Once you do this, your opponent gets to try to shoot them down as they fly over with his AK weapons, if he still has any. And then you both roll dice for all of your assault points that are on that ship. Your opponent rolls, of course, for how many assault points he still has left, and you roll for how many you've sent over. Again, you need 4 or more for each success to destroy an opposing assault point. If you destroy all opposing assault points, then you control that ship. If you don't, then simply you fight again next turn. Only 1 turn of boarding fighting can happen on each turn per ship. Per round, I mean.
While this battle is being fought, your opponent can move and fire the ship as normal. However, if you have AP and he doesn't at any point, then you take over the ship. It is worth double victory points to you, but you cannot make any use of it. You can't even use its guns or generators.
As you have undoubtedly seen throughout this review, all of the models are of high quality. Although there are a lot of really small details on a lot of them, they are not as hard to paint as one would think. The only real issue is, due to the models being made of metal and resin, one has to wash them properly before assembly and painting in order to make sure the paint adheres to their surfaces. The starter boxes themselves are really nice and simple and quick to assemble, since most of the time the models are one solid piece, in the case of frigates and cruisers. Although sometimes, most often on battleships, you have separate turrets which you need to glue down, but that's about it. A normal starter box should take you about half an hour to assemble, including washing up and cleaning off any mold lines, which are really rare thanks to, as always, Spartan making sure the models are in a very good condition before they're put in the box itself. So how to summarize this game? It's got a striking aesthetic, a good solid set of rules that could have used a little bit of tweaking before release, a limited glossary unfortunately, which makes things slightly tricky if you're trying to find a specific rule in the middle of a game. It will take you a bit of flipping through the rulebook in order to find it. But apart from that, the rules are good for casual play. I don't recommend them for competitive play. The models are lovely, and all in all, this game is a worthy addition to Spartan Games' range.
It's a long way to Tipperary. It's a long way. Oh, it's a long way to Tipperary.